What's up, family? This is Juan J coming at you for real live, real talk through the scriptures, and a real talk commentary. This is going to be quick, only because I am currently using my laptop. Normally, I come at you with my phone. My phone is missing, so I will fix that very soon. But right now, I just want to come at you with the real talk through the scriptures, real talk commentary. Again, it's a lot going on this week. I wanted to address some of the issues on today. As you all know, it's late, and so again, I'm not going to try to hold you guys too long. So I'll just make the video, and please just tune in and share it with your friends, share it with some of your enemies, share it with your family. But at the end of the day, just please share it, because I believe that I'm on to something, and I think that we need to really look at this, the American slave coast. My cell phone, so this is kind of new right now. If you lose me, it's because I tried to switch screens and go and do some research or go somewhere else. So, but I'm still here. So look, with that said, first let me go straight to the issues. Today is Father's Day on the record in America. We just had Mother's Day, I believe last month. And you guys know that I don't do this at the holidays because I'm one of those people who, when I have convictions, I have convictions. And I'm not one to go backwards on my convictions. If something's not right, I deal with it. I address it immediately. I don't wait. So with this situation, with the holidays, my conviction is this. Black men are being killed. Unarmed black men and women are being killed. Correction, unarmed black men, women, and children are being killed by police officers nationwide. And they're not going to jail for it. They're getting off the hook. This country does not see us as humans. They don't respect our right to exist. And I, for one, as a man, not a boy, not a child, but as a man, cannot, in good conscience, participate in any of these holidays until I see justice for black people, Native African Americans. When I say Native, I'm talking about people who were raised, born here. I'm not talking about from the continent. I'm talking about Native, born Africans in America. Because outside of this country, people see us as American. And although, yes, I claim I'm African because my roots run deep and I am from the creative civilization, at the end of the day, I know that we are under attack in the black community. And I know that we don't want to have this discussion. We want to just act like everything's okay and, it's going to get better. But we are being slaughtered in the street every day. every week, every month. And as King so eloquently said, if a man hasn't found something worth dying for, he's not fit to live. And it's unfortunate that most of our men are more concerned about sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, swimming, and they're concerned about the latest comedians, entertainment, you name it, the latest, what shoes are you wearing, um, what car are you driving, what jewelry are you wearing, what's the latest brand alcohol that you're sipping, um, the foot game, the clothing game. We're more concerned about these things that mean nothing to the survival and justice for our people. So, with that said, I will be boycotting, maybe till I go to my grave, every single holiday in America outside of my date I came in my mama's womb. And those who have birthdays, I will be not celebrating that one holiday, not one, until I see justice for Native African Americans who have been slaughtered in the street by agents of the state in white rage. I'm very clear about that. I've been on this strike, this boycott for at least 3 years now, and I'm still going. I appreciate all the hospitable Father's Day and other greetings that folks give me during the year. But you know you're not getting one back. Because at the end of the day, we're at war, family. We're at war. Our children, our men, our women are under attack. And if we can't find enough energy to say no, then something's wrong with us. We've got to deal with these holidays. Frederick Douglass said it so eloquently. He said this: these holidays quelch the insurrection spirit in the black man. He said basically, as long as this country can keep us celebrating in a celebration mode, where it's always a Mother's Day, a Father's Day, a Nurse Day, a Siblings Day, a Hot Dog Day, a Valentine's Day, a Christmas, all these holidays, as long as we can keep the people in the celebration mode, they won't have time to unlock the insurrection spirit within themselves. So again, I say, family, we have to make a decision not to celebrate these holidays. Look, we can find other holidays that we can do in lieu of their holidays. But at the end of the day, in order for us to tap into that insurrection spirit that Frederick Douglass spoke so eloquently about, we've got to put all these holidays on the shelf. Make a mental detachment from these holidays. Because at the end of the day, it's hard for me personally to celebrate in a country or in a nation who don't even respect my right to exist. And with that said, let's deal with today right now, because I'm not going to be here long. What is today? Do you not know that today is the 3-year anniversary of the Chaleston 9 massacre? It was just 3 years ago today that Dylan Storm Roof went into a black church and murdered, slaughtered 9 black people. 3 men and 6 women. It was just 1 year ago today that Philando Castile, the murderer had killed him on video, was found not guilty. Just last year, this time last year, Philando Castile's the cop that killed him in front of his fiance and his baby. He was let off the hook. So this is not a day of celebration, people. This is a day of mourning. As a matter of fact, let me be very clear. That Chaleston 9 massacre that took place in Charleston was our black 911. We always talk about 911 for the American culture, but we had a young white man, not a boy, but a man, sit in the church for about an hour, decides to pull out a gun and put at least 4 or 5 slugs or rounds in each of the bodies. Was on a run for a couple of days, captured, and went to Burger King. So again, this is not a day of celebration. This is a day of mourning. But we so quickly forget about the atrocities that is perpetrated on black people. And this is why I've made a decision to break down the American Slave Code and David Walker's appeal. Because number one, we don't read. And number two, we had a situation this week where Jeff Sessions, the Attorney General of these United States, made a comment about Paul said in Romans 13 that we should obey the laws of the land. Wow. He made that comment because he wanted to justify this country snatching children away from their parents on the border. And what struck me is this. This is the same country, the same nation that did the same thing to Native African Americans, whether the ones that was here before the boats or the ones that was brought here by the boats. Because if you was black in America, you paid the price. You was a slave. So look, I want to just read some things that I wrote down. I may go back over some stuff I said. I want to be able to capture it because I think that it's not so much of what I said or what I think, but I think that we need to really, I don't know if black ministers understand or dealt with the slave code. We've dealt with reparations, we've dealt with self-empowerment, we dealt with black economics, but I don't know if the black minister has dealt with the slave codes. Oh yeah, we talk about the codes that was given from on high to Moses, but we never dealt with black preachers basically winked and remained silent for hundreds of years while white male dominant culture enforced the American slave code on us. And to this day, they still remain silent on the American slave code that was practiced against us. So let me say something. Let me just read to you. I may be repeating what I wrote, but I'm going to read it. We have a responsibility to the truth, justice, freedom, and liberation of African people worldwide if we are to break the chains of the slave codes that have been written on the hearts of men and women. The news must be honest, just, truthful, candor, accurate, concise, and complete. Philando, Castile, not guilty verdict in the Chaleston Massacre 3-year anniversary marks the day of mourning and the call from the ancestors ago never to forget the right for Black people to exist and to be able to live. As many are celebrating Father's Day, I posed a question in an earlier post. Why are we celebrating Father's Day in the 21st century when the state of the Black community appears to be in shambles and chaos? Family, if we continue in celebration mode and never deal with the reality of our sojourn in America, wilderness, we will pass down the slavery concept and mindset to our children. We are facing extermination, family, and we have to wake up. As I decode the American slave code in theory and practice, my mind goes back to the words of David Walker. But before I talk about David Walker, I must address the comments made by Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions used a passage from the scriptures to justify separating children from their parents by agents of the states and the border police. These are the same practices that have been carried out by plantation patrols in the system of white male dominant society upon Black people by enforcing the American slave codes. Jeff Sessions stated in a press conference, the Apostle Paul reminded the people to obey the laws that are given by the government, that the laws are ordained by the Lord, and we must obey the law. It's this type of mindset that empowers a whole generation to carry out inhumane atrocities carried out upon our people. And that's what I wrote. Look, family, I'm going to go and read some of David Walker's appeal. I'm just going to pull out some paragraphs because most people don't even know who David Walker is. But I'm going to introduce you to David Walker. Okay, because I think his appeal is relevant today, and it will unlock some of the keys to why our good white born-again Christian does the things that he do, and why our Black plantation preachers sit back and watch him do it. Okay, I think Christianity is a good religion. Well, I think the teachings of Jesus is good, but I think it's been co-opted by colonial Christianity. I think Black plantation preachers have surrendered, or they have turned the teachings of Jesus into a syndicate. And now you've got to be a doctor or go to some cemetery or seminary just to be able to expound on the oracles or the word of God. But when I get finished with this David Walker and connect this slave code, you're going to see that David Walker's appeal came out in 1829. And he ain't spared these born-again white Christians who are doing the same thing then in 1829 that they're doing right now in 2018. So let me read something. Get the book. David Walker's appeal. Okay. Now, mind you, it's my first time using my Apple computer because I'm normally on my phone. Um, but I'm just going to read some of his appeal because I think it's relevant to unlocking the code and why white folks are doing what they're doing and why black folks are doing what they're doing. David Walker's appeal was an event of major importance. It was the most seminal expression of African American political thought to come forth in the early 19th century. The appeal is fundamentally a treatise on the necessity of the moral justification for resistance to slavery as the most despicable form of oppression. Let me say this again. The appeal is fundamentally a treatise on the necessity of the moral justification for resistance to slavery as the most despicable form of oppression. Furthermore, it was issued at the most difficult moment in American history. The period between 1820 and 1830 was a watershed for slavery. The decade was marked by intense slave unrest and rebelliousness. David Walker's appeal was the appeal that inspired Nat Turner. Okay? Walker presents the first sustained critique of slavery and racism in the United States by an African person. David Walker's appeal was crystallized. David Walker's appeal crystallized the universal principles against slavery, and its influence was a crucial to the anti-slavery crusade and its coherence and organization as a movement. Okay? The appeal is well established as a classic in anti-slavery literature. It was written over 160 years ago. Let me say this again. It was written over 160 years ago and continues to attract serious attention. This is an accomplishment that surpasses another classic, The Souls of Black Folks by W. Du Bois, which was first published in 1903. So I want to give you just a little backdrop on who David Walker was. A little backdrop. Let me just read something else. Keep on reading. Okay. David Walker was born September 28, 1785 in Wilmington, North Carolina. Though his father was enslaved, his mother was a free woman. The law in North Carolina during slavery determined that children inherited the status of the mother. Let me say this again. The law in North Carolina during slavery determined that the children inherited the status of the mother. This law assured that virtually all newborn Africans, regardless of whom their fathers were, will be a source of new slaves. Okay? David Walker's mother, let me read this. Seldom were African women free. This was unusual, was fortunate for the life of David Walker, but was equally a prophetic twist of history with deep significance for the future of Black liberation policies. Walker's mother, I want you to hear this. If I don't read nothing else today from this book, Walker's mother was able to pass on to him free status, and she raised her child with a profound outrage towards slavery. Let me say this again. Walker's mother was able to pass on to him free status and raise David Walker with a profound outrage towards slavery. His father, by most reports, died before his birth or while he was very young. Why did I read to you what his mother passed on to him? Because I want these sisters to realize this right now, this Father's Day. And you look at the state of the Black male right now in the 21st century, these guys don't know whether they are females or males. The feminization of these Black men is so off the chain right now that you need to know this, that David Walker's mother raised him with an outrage for slavery. The question I ask my sisters today, or my brothers, how are you raising your children? Are you raising your children with an outrage for slavery? Are you raising your children to be instruments for righteousness? Are you raising your children to be abolitionists? Are you raising your children to hold up the bloodstained banner of the red, the black, and the green? Are you raising your children to fight against injustices, against human rights, against black people, people of color? Not even say people of color, Native African Americans. Again, Walker's mother raised her child with a profound outrage towards slavery. That says to me that she did not want her son to be no slave. And she didn't want her son to play with slavery. She wanted her son to be outspoken. To all the men out here, why the hell can't you say something in the era of Trump? How come it's so difficult for you, the men out here, when racism, white supremacy is raging, when white rage is like off the chain, and you're still whispering about what the white man is doing, what the system is doing? You get more talk about, people talk more about LeBron James and he being swept than you talk about what the system of white male domination is doing to us as a people. And I say to you again, family, how are you raising your children? How are you raising your children? This is a day of mourning. Let me be clear. Every black person under the sound of my voice, from Rhode Island to California, should have paid some respect to the Chaleston massacre that took place 3 years ago. Should have paid some respect to the verdict of Philando Castile, the no guilty verdict that was last year. And here we got Jeff Sessions talking about we need to obey the laws of the land. Let me read from this book, The American Slave Code in Theory and Practice. Chapter 5, Use of Slave Property. Because I'm just going to read. I'm not going to get none of my opinions. I'm just going to read. Slaves as property may be used absolutely by their owners at will for their own profit or pleasure. Let me say this again. Slaves as property may be used absolutely by their owners at will for their profit or pleasure. I'm not going to be before you long. Property is that which may be used by the owner. The slave is one who is in the power of a master to whom he belongs. Goods that are, and goods they are esteemed. This is the law of relationship as goods. Therefore, they may be used while, like other goods, they perish with the using. Have I not a right to do what I will with my own? Is a question. Admit the validity of ownership and the right of the use of followers, of course. If the legal relationship be an innocent one, the right to use and exercise that right are innocent, likewise provided the use to be legitimate. We shall see what uses are deemed legitimate by those who have shaped, defined, and administered the relationship. It is true that the use of property, now we're talking about slaves now, it is true that the use of property by the owner is limited by the rights of other persons. But slaves are not persons in the view of the law. Let me say this again. For any purpose of the benefit to them, as will hereafterward be more fully shown, the rights of slaves are not recognized. The rights of slaves are not recognized, and no limitation of the master's use of him can come from the quarter. Nothing can prevent the master from putting him to any use he pleases. Let me say this again. Nothing can prevent the master from putting him to use any way he pleases. We are talking about the American Slave Code in theory and in practice. We're talking about a nation that went and decided to put limitations on free men and women. This slave code, it wasn't just a code. It's like the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments wasn't just commandments. The Ten Commandments, if you believe in the scriptures, were ordained by God, carried out by men, and written on the hearts of men and women. To this day, right now, most Christians, most Muslims, most Jews can quote the Ten Commandments, and they try to live by them because they've written the Ten Commandments on the table of their hearts. So they're no longer in the book, it's on their hearts. I would dare say to you that the European, with the preaching of colonial Christianity and the enforcement of the slave codes, have written those same codes on their hearts. But now it's not just on paper, people. It's in their hearts. They don't see us as human. They don't have to tell you. It's written in the book. And they've written them and they bound them on their hearts. Just in the way they treat us. Every time I see stories about what America is doing to the alleged illegal immigrants, I chuckle. Because I know that this is the same America that did these atrocities to my ancestors. And because they didn't show it in the book, and people are so shocked and so concerned about the illegal immigration piece, they forget that this is the same playbook they've been using when they took free men and women from Africa. So family, again, I'm gonna go through the slave book. I'm probably gonna lose some friends. And some of y'all gonna probably want to step away from the church. You're gonna probably want to step away from Christianity. Because the connection is gonna be made that it was good, born again, white Christian men who enforced these slave codes. And it was black, born again, plantation preachers who said nothing. And hopefully, and even if I can't do the research, the justice it deserves, hopefully somebody will pick up the baton and do the research themselves. Because preachers don't talk about the slave code. I called into a radio station and I asked the preacher, have you ever heard of the slave code? No, never heard of it. And I recommended this book. But they know about the Ten Commandments. They know about the Ten Commandments. We quit to talk about the Ten Commandments. We won't talk about the code. Again, I want to come to you because I'm going to go through this every week. I wish that you would join me as I go through this book. Because I believe that our problem is not just natural and it's not just about information. We've had information. I think the African American or the Native African American is a very spiritual people. We may be the most spiritual people in the world. Because we're the only one I can tell who's really coexisting with their oppressor without rebelling, like you see the Palestinians and the Jews, and like you see the Afghanistans and the Indians, and the Russians, and we coexist with our oppressor. Think about this: the Asians are split up in 4 or 5 different type of groups. You have the Japanese, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Vietnamese. They coexist, but guess what? They have their own culture. And they are willing to fight and defend it. If China goes into Korea, it's going to be a fight. Like North Korea, if they invade South Korea, it's going to be a fight. But we're the only group of people in the world who will not fight our oppressor. Because you know why? The code has been written on our hearts. It's not just in the book no more. We function like we're still slaves. And our white brother function like they're still the oppressor. So again, I'm not going to go no further with this. I just want to keep my word. I encourage you, please, 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 everyone, get these 2 books. I'm going to hold them up so you can see them. I want you to get these 2 books. Because you're going to see that David Walker's appeal is a first-hand account of him trying to deal with good, born-again white Christians who had no love for African people and still don't. I'm not saying they're all bad, but I'm saying the silence is deafening from our white brothers when it comes down to the atrocities perpetrated on our people by agents of the state. Now look, let me be clear about what I'm saying. If you don't know, I gave the police department 20 years of my life. I know what I'm talking about. I've been in the ministry since the late 80s. I consider myself a lamp. Law enforcement, 20 years. Activist, 20. Minister, police officer. Got a very unique perspective about this. Okay. I can marry you. Got all my credentials. But I just choose to be a John. Somebody who cries out in the wilderness. Because, again, like I've stated before, I believe the teachings of Jesus have been co-opted by plantation preachers. And I believe they turned the whole Jesus piece into a syndicate. And they've broken the whole country up into sections. It's no more the leaning of the Holy Spirit. It's now, what's your education levels? Who you know? So what was first century teaching is no more first century no more. It's who you know. Where'd you go? How many degrees you got? So people who speak the truth, they shun them. They shut them down because you're messing with their money. You're messing with their ministries. Guess what? I'm enjoying it. I'm gonna miss your ministries out. You had me come to your church or your community center. I'm giving the truth. I'm responsible for the truth. Not to the buddy system, not to raising no money. What's at stake is the salvation of our children. What's at stake is in the next 25, 50 years, you may be around. What are we leaving for our children? We've already lived. I'm 50 years old. 25 years, I'll be 75. What are we leaving our children? I'm not going to leave my children the same mess that my parents left me. They're scared, cowardness, don't say nothing. Look at these boys out here right now. They function like slaves. They lost their damn mind. Get the book and read it. Turn off the TV, like Dr. Wilson say. The greatest thing that black folks can do right now is turn the TV off and read a book. What's the last book you read? I'm not talking about no Ebony Jack magazine. What was the last book you read? Come on, family. It's time to get real. I'm not going to hold you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'll be here every Sunday reading David Walker's Appeal and the American Slave Code in practice and theory. And we're going to break down why we're in the situation we're in from the spiritual context. Because I really believe our situation is spiritual. And it's not just natural, it's very spiritual. And I just want to leave something for our children. So I know I'm talking to a lot of adults, but I'm looking beyond the adults. I'm looking at my children's children. Some of us adults are stuck in our ways, and we're not going to budge. But I look in the eyes of my children, and the children not born, and I want something better for them than what we have. And for me, tearing this whole damn system up, so be it. I want better. And better don't mean raising your hand when somebody's shooting you down the street. Raising your hand, raising your hand, it's a sign of surrender. No, don't shoot. No. It means protecting yourself. Again, I told you. JuanJohn29@gmail.com. JuanJohn29@gmail.com. I will teach you self-defense. I will teach you how to work a weapon. I am certified. Okay? It's just that serious. You don't want to believe that we're at war. But we are. We are. Again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I appreciate it. Please share it. And again, every week, if not earlier, I'm gonna come through here. If I get here earlier, and you see it, if you see the video, just view it and share it, because I think that I'm on to something. We all have our place in this earth. If it's 6 billion people, it's 6 billion expressions of God. And we all have to do our part. And this is my part. I'm very comfortable in talking about this issue. I'm very straightforward about it. And I know that the damage that plantation preaching has done to black communities is phenomenal. And they're going to have to own this. And I'm going to call them to the carpet, all of them. some of your mega preachers, your mega celebrities. I'm going to call them out. Because at the end of the day, what's more important to me is the salvation, preservation, justice, liberation, freedom for our people. And I love everybody. I got a special love for the Native African American. And I mean that. And I'm going to apologize about that. So thank you all for tuning in. Everybody, and lottie dottie. I can keep you up. It's getting late. We all got to work tomorrow. If you want to, again, send your support. Whether you do it or not, don't make a difference. I'm still going to keep on coming. Just go to GoFundMe.com/real-talk-media facility. You'll see it. You want to write JohnJohn29@gmail.com. And watch it. It's not how much you know. It's how much you care. And I want you to, again, get the book, cut them televisions off. And as my man, Darren Muhammad would say, you see it, my brother, stay out those stadiums. Stay out those theaters. Stay out those ballparks. Those are easy targets for us. Easy targets. Cut the TV off, family. Pick up a book and read it. Again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you. And I appreciate all the love. And remember this, it is not how much you know. It's how much you care. God bless you. Stay encouraged. I'm out. What's up, Will?